after a desert storm. The FWR was sponsoring trips down to purchase cars. 3 or 4 days rotations at a time. Like they were fixing 60 or 70 guys out of the community. Everything down there that when you went was free. Awesome. The guys would sign up and then they wouldn't go. I can't remember what year was it.
All right. So, did anybody else write down the numbers you're going to have besides Thomas?
Oh, you passed them out.
I got you.
Okay, so you got your numbers. If not, he should be coming on in just a minute. I was just able to get online. Who wants to go first? Go ahead, Paul.
My first one would be number 14.
Okay.
Title company shall provide the land surveyor. I put D, copies of the record description of the property.
14 would be D. So they're using it to provide everything to you. Any type of descriptions, easements, you don't even have to do any research. They'll provide all that to you typically. All right, so everybody just heard 14, what 14 was?
14.
Okay.
So my next one would be at 36. The question reads, the positional tolerance for land title survey is, I put C is not addressed.
It is not. So actually, I think it's, does it say 0.07 plus or minus 50 ppm?
Yeah. It does.
So, but that's not, like, so.
That's not one of them.
What would you want us to answer?
C.
Okay.
If somebody wrote in and put that 0.7 plus or minus 50, I would know what you're talking about because I've got that note on there.
My last question goes through number 54. The question reads, for platted adjoining land, the plat shall show, I put B, but I think it should be actually B. B is the recording information of adjoining owners only, but the answer should be the recording data of the subdivision.
I think it should be C, A, and D. So on the adjoiners, you've got names and you've got their.
I've got D. But, you know, really.
D as in dog?
Yeah, I got D as in dog. But you're gonna have to put all that information on there, but then table A has some extra stuff. Let me look at the table A real quick. So table A, when we start looking at problems, let me look at another one. That was, what number is that one?
54.
So I went back on another one. Let me see if I can find my tape where the table is. Should have my table's not in any of the documents I have in my hand. I'll pull it up in just a minute. But that's what I have, and I've read back over it. Actually, I had submitted these. Yeah.
Those are my two.
Okay, who's next? Jim, you next or?
Yeah.
Okay.
17.
I'm gonna read it.
Minimum linear closure for an Alta land title survey.
That would be B, no longer specified.
I couldn't find anything on it, but I didn't know if that was.
Next one.
Or number 29.
29.
Besides the Alta and EDM, the following is acceptable for location.
Okay. Radio.
Well, that was actually one of Tyler's.
So a radial would be, so radial is like using the old total stations where you could actually pull a distance and turn your angle. Where like you're set up at one point and you can measure, and it's not electronically. Some of these suspension and that's old school flim stuff. Yeah, I call it flim. You have to look back at your chapter 1. Actually, it's in chapter 1. Actually, chapter 1 in the survey book. So, next one. I've got some that I have multiple answers for, but I hadn't heard anybody ask for those yet. You got one more, right?
Yeah, I got that. Okay. I'm looking. Thought I had the name written down for one. Actually, just asked on Tyler. So.
Mike, you want to go with yours, and Jim, if you remember what it is, we'll come back and get your one.
Let's do 55.
You want to do 55?
Yeah. Handicap designated parking spaces should be shown. Requested 9 on table A.
Handicap. Would you put?
B.
It's B. So that table will be some that are going to be requested. So if they don't mark off that they requested, then it doesn't have to go on there. But most times they're going to have a whole list of things. And when you go to do the 40 questions, which I'll start going over what they are today, you're going to assume that they've checked off for you to do all of these things that are in table A.
About table A, doesn't call it handicap, they call it something.
But they don't.
I don't have.
ADA. Maybe ADA. Yeah.
All right. When did they come up with this?
American Life Disabilities.
Yeah, it comes from.
I've got table A here. You don't think I have any of the data.
Okay, in 2011, like you said, and it was 2016.
It didn't have. All right. Mike, you're up.
26.
26. Okay, so positional uncertainty is
I'm going to see, but I think this is not.
nope.
I think.
Or you'd be correct when you say B. It's random errors, things that's not like human errors or. Now, exactly where it came from in that particular.
So just like all three of them questions right there.
It
5,
used-
26, and 27,
Mhm.
because the word, the actual word positional uncertainty
Mhm.
and positional tolerance does not used
in the,
correct.
did you look at the 2005 that have
I
been?
looked at all of them.
Okay. And they're
And
like,
the reason being because like 25, it has it like in quotes. So to me, if in quotes, that means the actual word should be
right, so in other words, you might have put none of the above.
none of the above, but all three of those quotes.
So there are, so that would be B.
So you can't say them.
25 is what?
She didn't say.
And so you just asked about 26. You asked about 26, which
I
is
think
B.
27 would be it.
So, Mike, what's your next one?
32.
32. Any difference in recording bearings from measure bearings?
Got 8.
Oh,
30.
Notice the difference of the two bearings.
32 is A. In other words, you're going to show both.
Right.
I'm recording. Doesn't it look like I'm recording, y'all? Thomas was asking if it was. Looks like it's got a
Camera and time.
yeah, that's what I said. Looks like it is. All right. So that one is, in other words, you're going to note both of them. So it's going to be A.
38.
38.
Plastic. Survey should be oriented so that north is at the top of the picture.
B.
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 Remember that?
There.
B.
Over that.
38.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you're up.
I have number 22.
So
First one.
22.
I think I got A.
It would be A.
Okay. And number 45. C for that one. In both A and B.
It would be C.
And number 52. And C for that one. Also.
And it would be C always. Okay. So do y'all want to regroup? Because Mana's going to be your last hope.
Yeah, no, nobody had any of the ones that I needed. Can we let, Thomas go before I go? Because I know one of them was the one that he wanted to ask, but I don't remember which one it was.
I'm waiting for him to see if he gets in.
Oh, he is in.
He is?
Yeah, he's in. Oh, he keeps leaving. He keeps coming and going.
Let's have that connection.
I just have to call you. See, look, fixed. He's here.
All right, Thomas, we're waiting on you. are your numbers. Because if you don't have audio, you can actually type a question. I just put that.
But he said his audio wasn't working. It might have been because I was in the wrong room. He was probably in there because I was in there. He was in the group I was in. We did 2 sessions over.
Oh, because one wouldn't log in for me for some reason. Something happened. I got out. See what his numbers are. I still haven't got the ones that I've got maybe 2 answers on. Nobody's asked those yet.
It's probably one of the 6 that I have.
We've done 12 answers, 12 numbers so far, so we're waiting for your 3, Thomas, before Monica does her last 3. And if that's one we've already went over, so you say 29,
Yeah, I asked about that.
29, 33, and 59. So let me look.
We did 29.
Yeah, 29.
So we've already done 29. So 33.
29 was A.
33 is what I needed. Thank God.
33. The bearing on the plat shall read around the boundary. Should be A, always as called for in the title company's description. 33. A. So 59. Stricter requirements by the State Board of Surveyors shall be noted. Did anybody try to do 59?
I got C.
Anybody else?
Oh, that was D.
So I've got a check by B, but I've got C in my little sheet.
Yeah, I had put C at first, but Thomas brought me into B.
So I think it's C, because C is what I had for in my little. Oh no, it is C. No check by B, it's C. So you got one more, Thomas, because 29 was already answered.
29 is A.
One more.
Good one.
So ask one of Dylan since he isn't here.
Oh yeah, look at there. You done lost him too. We need to be.
A and D.
Is a dog?
A and D.
D is a boy or D is a dog?
D
I
is a
thought it was D is a dog.
And B.
It's a B.
25. Did anybody have 25?
Got C.
That was one of Dylan's, so.
Yeah.
So that was one of Dylan's. So let me look at 25 then.
I actually have D and C, because I wasn't sure.
That's the one I said is in quotes, so.
Okay. So 25 I have as C, the uncertainty and location. All right, so Monica, the three remain with you.
Okay. 37. Go that one first.
$37. A land title surveyor may be made in the office if. Anybody try that one?
Put none.
I was thinking it's none.
D, none of the above. You're not going to be surveying from the office.
I didn't think so.
I'm sure some people try.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Okay. All I knew is I couldn't find it. Okay.
So, I mean, I've had to, one summer I told you that, D had just got through recording a whole boundary survey, and they were gonna be for townhomes. They'd already done all the plans for the townhomes since the city of Fayetteville. But for them to give them a building permit just to put a townhome in, had to have iron rods set at every single corner of the townhome, which, they're gonna get torn out, but to record, they had to be. So I had to go back out and, Paul did his first. So we got 2 left, so I had to resurvey the whole boundary again, but I guess it was cheaper maybe to resurvey every single thing again, and then to put the new rebars in and record it. Or they were so busy with other stuff that she needed some help. All right, so Monica, 2 left.
31.
31. Anybody got, try to do 31?
I got B.
It's gonna be B.
Okay.
You want to show both, it must be shown on the boundary of the survey plate. So let's say if I go out there, and that's really, they want it recorded. So let's say we go out there and it's supposed to be 100 feet and we get 100.05. They want the actual, they want what it's supposed to be on there. That is rewrite a whole nother legal description. So actual, we had, so when we go to Spring Lake campus, the campus has already been recorded one time. We're actually doing a survey of an actual piece of land that's already recorded. So we're following the footsteps, but we're not gonna put what he had for his instrument and what we have. We're just gonna put our new updated stuff. But title, these Altas, they want what's recorded and what you actually measure.
Let me ask you a question before I ask my last question. For one of these, can I consult the class without getting your response and it not count as one of mine? Because I have 2 answers and I wanted to hear the class.
Yeah, because y'all were doing that the other day.
Okay, so for number 56, I have B and D. What do you guys have?
56?
No, 56.
That's D, Delta.
Anybody else?
D.
What about you, Thomas? You got D too? Okay. All right. Then can you answer number 27? See that one. If it's not right.
So 27 is one that I have 2. I have 2 different things. And I'll kind of tell you what I have.
B.
So 27, positional tolerance is, I have none of the above. But then also I have a little highlighted with the A and a question mark. Why is it not the same as not addressed in Alta?
Because it is addressed, isn't it?
It's just not none of the above. Is that the one that had the
I know it's in there. I looked it up, but I just.
The answer is
couldn't find
D,
it. Okay.
should be D for that
Yeah.
one.
Appreciate you.
Right. So, if you've submitted it once, I'll make sure there's a second attempt. If you're trying to type it up and you just want to do a sheet like I have, do one is so-and-so A, B, C, D, just get it retyped up before the end of the weekend and get your new ones in. I had it as a Word document at one time, but I'm not sure what happened where it went back PDF. But you can just type it in as Word document for me. Let's look real quick at hopefully my table. So before I go over this, I'm looking at maybe us going out not this Monday, but the next. So that would be us finding all the property corners. That would mean no survey at all. We'll go straight out. From here, we should be back in time for estimating, no problem. We might, excuse me. And I would say we're not going as a group, but I've got to get all that. Well, I don't have that much equipment for the first day to get out, so that wouldn't be a big deal. So it'd be fairly easy for me just to say at a meeting time, meet me there at 1 o'clock. But I'll remind you next week, because 2 hours, 1 o'clock, and then 2.5 hours to get back, we should be able to start estimating my floor. We're just going to uncover the evidence, mark, mark the ground and all, so that we come back out there. So we won't really have to have the instruments. We'll just need the metal detector, shovel. I usually been using paint instead of flagging. So if I put flagging on it and then mow the grass, then it's chewed up. And you put a wood stake there, then they're mad because we put the wood stake. But typically you're supposed to have them uncovered, marked, flagging, wood stake beside it. But I've been painting it. That way when I come back, it's painted on the ground. I'm not making them mad because it'll be right. Some of these are going to be right in the middle of the open. As we do, we'll walk through, so make sure you have your walking shoes on for that. So let's look real quick then. I'll go ahead and get the field trip put in, but I'll just get y'all to meet me out there, and that won't be a big deal as for getting equipment and stuff out there. Let's go to module 3. I want to look at the tables. So there's 2 maps that came with the Alta, and it says it's wanting you to look at the tables and find out what's wrong with these 2. I'll kind of get you started on it. Tables in the back of the Altas.
Which one's that? 2011?
Yeah, the 2011. Okay, so there's my table A. So you're gonna looking at those. You're gonna look at the stuff that has to be on there. Then you're also gonna say that you're gonna assume that they asked for all of these to be on there, meaning monuments placed at all major corners of the property unless marked, or like an existing or witness. So you're going to assume all of these things need to be on there. Zoning provided by the insurer, that's got to be on there. Dimensions of the building, square foot. And y'all were able to see that plat I put in there. It's a very, 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 very busy plat, but I will show you. So there's 40, it says, let me show you the little cheap, the little inky ones. So I don't know why I've got an X right here, but it's supposed to be all of these. All of these, they've asked you, because typically they'll ask for all of this to be on there.
So 8 through 13, this company, or all of them?
All of them. All of them. Some of them you're not going to really know if they put them on. The wetlands would have to be delineated. But there may not be wetlands there, but there probably need to be a note. But you'll find enough in these first couple of ones and what's required that you'll know it's not. And then I've got them typed up in a nice. When I did them, you can write them on the back of your paper. You can write them on the paper. They can be turned in. I got them typed up as for what my what was wrong with them, because it says, let's look at the first one. It's this one. For these and the ones, the drawings in the back of it. Yeah. So this one is part 3 things from that Alta ASTM one. So it's this one. Note. So this one we're going to note 3 items not shown, and then note 7 items not shown as required if they were doing all of table A. So 10 things for this one, it looks like, that you would have to do. 3 for not shown from the original, handwritten stuff, and then you've got 7 that aren't table A. So if it said, let's look at table A for just a second. Flood zone on there. Is there an address disclosed for the record documents or observed while conducting the survey? Do they have that on there? Gross land area, did they have their area? Do they have like contours or benchmarks? I'm just looking at the first couple of ones. Do they have a zoning on it? So it's the surveying company names on there, but it sure doesn't have, I don't see an address to it. Did the surveyor even sign it with his seal?
We'll see.
Okay, so you can already see some things that are part of the first 3 ones that wouldn't be right. There's no flood on here at all. No zoning. So, and you may have different ones than what I have. There's multiple answers. You could find more than if you start counting, you could find like more than 10 things wrong with it for sure. And like I said, I just typed up some that I found that when I did it, it was just easier for me to type it up. You can just write on it. You can circle it. You can write like the first 3. You're saying surveyor didn't need to sign.
Yeah. Got the stamp and that signature.
Yeah. So you can.
Address.
So you're just going to nitpick their work.
So there's 3 things that are not on it?
Yeah, 3 things that were that are required, that are based off the top part.
Good.
like these up here about the right of way and the joiners and anything that's under this. That'll be just the 3 things. It has to be labeled this specifically. So it's just, I'm letting you look at some of the, looking for eye and detail of what somebody didn't get on. Remember that, that based on the normal care, the location of all building surveys shown perpendicular to the nearest perimeter boundary line and express an appropriate degree of precision. You know how you do that in your, you did that in your plot plans. You had to do a line from endpoint perpendicular. So those things are the ones that are required. And then the second one is even more vague. It's really, so they asked for 10 items not shown, 5 that are incorrect, and then 15 that aren't in the table A. So, so yeah, so this one's where the bulk of the numbers are 40. So how about the 5 that are incorrectly shown? Can you look at this one and see something incorrect? Just not so much missing stuff. We know that there's no house dimensions on here. There's no adjoiners. There you go.
Property line is right on the edge of the building.
They have an overlap. They don't have information about it. But what?
Bearings and distance ain't all correct on all those.
How about something that's incorrectly shown? So yeah, there's not. We don't have a south there.
Public street doesn't show the name of the street.
So that's going to just be something that's missing, something that's incorrectly shown. Like kind of reading the notes and in your through the survey areas, read some of that right there and then see if you see something that I know you'll notice.
Okay, so they left out the gas line.
As I say, it says the gas line, but it doesn't show the gas line.
Okay, so maybe that's something incorrectly. Okay.
Swimming pool. Is that something that would be included?
Let's see if I do type that one up as one of mine. Keep going, keep reading, keep looking at the map. You don't see something
Are we looking
else
at something that's incorrect or something that's missing?
it's incorrect. I want you to tell me something in.
Joiners.
The scale is incorrect?
I know I got it typed in somewhere, but it's find it. There's something incorrect. And you're getting warmer, Monica. Specifically what?
The revision date is before the actual date.
Oh, so there's something incorrectly shown.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at, what incorrectly means, and then maybe missing. Sorry, because I will give y'all the typed up answers that I have on this.
The bearing on the right side is incorrect. It's the one.
That's the feet. You got the
Oh, is that what it is?
distance, just have an actual azimuth or bearing on it. Direction.
I know I got it typed up, I just gotta look for it. Saw it last night.
I know what incorrectly shown, that this survey does not meet all the specifications. specifications listed in table
Is
A.
that what he put on there?
It says this survey meets all specifications listed in table A.
So that would be
Minimum
something
standard.
definitely incorrectly.
And see, now he also, not only did he not sign it, he doesn't even have his name or his license number on it.
Okay, so that's two things you can count that aren't on there. Count them as two, not one.
Okay, so signature and
Oh, here. Okay, so. I'm gonna type that one.
We're turning this in with all this information? Is that what you're doing? Is this like an assignment we're turning in?
Yeah, it's an assignment to turn in, so I was gonna get y'all started on today. Y'all can bring it back on Monday.
And how many do we need to come up with? I'm sorry, so I can write that down.
So it's in at the very beginning, it tells you,
Oh, it does, is that the first page?
yeah, it's the first page, on each one, what to look for. So I think, who said something about the surveyor note that the item not located is unacceptable? Like when they put that note on there that it didn't meet it or something?
I did, it says this survey meets all specifications listed in table A of the minimum standard.
And I think Paul said something about a property line or a dimension or something. Didn't he? Well, they've got one on there. Well, they do have one on there, but it's incorrect on how it's. They should have gave us more to it. I mean, there's more than probably what I have.
One of the items that like I could put that's missing is like it says public street, but it doesn't have the name of the street.
That's probably gonna be more like under your like part, maybe one stuff that's missing.
But this is one is, okay, I thought we were doing this one as part A, this is part B, that's what I was going to do.
And like I said, I typed up all mine, and then I'll share them with you when you turn them in. You may have things I didn't see, because there's more than that I could keep going on and on and on what's missing.
Monica, when it says property survey.
Yeah, that was
top,
what she was saying about the first part, but I was like, okay.
one that says property survey,
Yeah.
that's B.
Yeah.
And the one that says ALTA, that's the A.
The real chintzy ones, B, didn't it? When they did a sorry job of the B. Alright, so that should, I can go ahead and close out where y'all are working on this. I'll make a note to make sure to remind you about turning in these chapter 60 questions. Either typing them in, I'll look at that again. Alright, so I'll go ahead and